Kevin, you all settled?
I'm back. I'm good. We're recording. Good
Kevin
job.
is not breathing in this episode.
Not breathing the entire episode.
No. We're gonna. Just on a side note for health, I do use a CPAP machine. For anybody out there with the apnea issues, it's life changing.
Wow,
Life
my mother uses it.
That's great. Actually, thanks.
I got tested for sleep. You got sleep apnea?
So the numbers are this: the average person has an apnea, which is 11 seconds of not breathing 4 times per hour. I was, or 4 times per sleep cycle, whatever it may be. I was having 87.
Oh.
And the oxygen level, I believe, is supposed to be to your brain at a minimum of 97%, and I was at 82%.
Wow. That explains so much.
Well, no, because you think I'm bad now. You should have seen me before the apnea machine. Because now I'm at a 98% clip for oxygen, and I'm doing 5 apneas per night at most. So I would highly suggest that, especially if you don't want to have kids ever again.
Now, does that machine, does that track the number of apneas you have, all that kind of stuff as well, or?
Yes, no, it's completely tracked. I had to do 2 sleep studies, whole thing.
Did you do the at-home one, or did you do the one?
Okay, so you're leaning into a funny story which you wouldn't know, but so the first time I tried this was about 4 years ago, and I called to make an appointment. Wow, this podcast just went to anyway. So I called to make an appointment, and the person on the phone was like, "Okay, we're going to send someone out to set your machine up to test you because you do it in your bed." And I'm like, "Okay." 9 o'clock at night. If you ever, there's an old movie, the Roger Rabbit movie, and there was the nurse that was in there, like an hourglass shaped, like over the top, redheaded, beautiful woman cartoon.
Yeah.
That's who showed up at my front door. So, needless to say, when I was in my bed and she was setting up the machine as my wife was at the other side of the bed, it was completely awkward as all hell. So I did that, but I will tell you that the sleep studies that they do, if they offer it to you at home, is only like, when I did it at the place, there was 56 different pieces attached to my body that I slept with, plus the mask. At home, it's like a fraction of it. So the study that you get.
It was in my chest, and then right at the 2 palms going into my nose, and a heart rate monitor.
When you go to the sleep study, it's 56 of them. So it's literally from top to bottom, and they check everything. So the study difference, it's nice to do it at home. It gives you an idea. They're really just kind of seeing how many apneas you have. But if you want, it's almost like a stress test on the overnight in that sense. So you get all your vitals. So I had to do that twice because the machine was, it wasn't, you have to set it to a million different settings, and it's just back and forth. And it got to a point where it took 3 months and they still couldn't figure it out. So insurance said, you have to do another study. So I had to do another study. But now that's been about 2 years now that I've been using it. And I can tell you that I have not been tired at 3 or 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon in 2 years.
Wow.
It's just completely, because I sleep for 6 hours, 7 hours, and your body starts to train yourself, because there are nights where I don't sleep with it. I just forget. All right, there's a water bin that you can heat up to give you a little bit of humidity when you're breathing. Sometimes I turn it on and I fall asleep before it gets warm. But your body starts to adjust because I'm still okay. Mm-hmm. But if you go a couple of days, it's noticeable.
It's interesting. I want to talk about the sleep side of it. So how many hours a night do you sleep?
I've been trying to stay from 1 a.m. to 8 a.m.
Okay,
that's
like a 7-hour clip is ideal. Yeah. Because here's the thing that I find, and there's so much content out there right now. Like I sleep 2 hours a night because I'm an entrepreneur and I'm a business owner, so I work until 1 a.m. Then I get up at 4 a.m. and for me that doesn't work. You know, I'm like 6 hours. I need at least 6 hours of sleep, and I'm good. 7 hours is kind of ideal.
Yep.
But I think there's kind of a little bit of a dangerous messaging out there that as an entrepreneur you just don't sleep, and that's how it should be because you're grinding it out.
You get burnout.
It's the alpha male concept, right? But I get it. When you're 23, you can do that, because most times you can make up the sleep on the back end. Like they never, when they tell you they sleep 3 hours, they never tell you at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon they crash in front of like.
On a Sunday, they slept for 13 hours straight.
Right. Or they're like, it's Netflix and chill, but it's by yourself, and you only watch 10 minutes of the movie because you pass out, and then you wake up at 11:30 and you grind it out to 4 in the morning. So it's not true that people don't sleep more than 2 or 3 hours. What's true is that they might do that for a little while, but they make up for it, because It's very rare for, now I do believe though you can train your body to sleep 5 hours, but I think if you're doing any, and there are some people who probably can do that.
My father did it for years. I mean, he was military, and then he had, ended up having to, work crazy hours, get up really early in the morning, and get out by, 5:36. So
it depends on your age too, right? Like if I sleep, I fell asleep like a week ago at like 9:30. I can't remember the last time I did it, and I slept till 10 o'clock the next morning. Wow. It was the worst day of my life. Because like you get, you know what I'm saying? I think that's for most people, you oversleep. There's so part of the apnea thing was that there's 4 stages of sleep. The third being REM sleep. In all my studies, I never have ever reached REM.
Wow.
So the doctor was like, "You probably have not reached REM sleep in 25 years."
Wow.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
Because I didn't dream often.
And that's the sleep you need.
That's right. So that's when the healing starts and all that other stuff starts. So just that part and the amount of apneas that I was having, because I have like deviated septum, sort of a broken nose,
I got mine
hockey and shit.
We're gonna go into that.
Yeah, I got mine fixed because of that.
Broken nose or the apnea?
Yeah, the deviated septum.
Oh,
I
you did?
got my uvula cut off.
Yes, this is getting all weird, but like my tongue is really wide. No, it is. Not like Gene Simmons level wide, but like wide. So I have to breathe through my nose. So what was happening as a mouth breather, you end up that everything goes in through your mouth, right? So it's not filtered through the nose and stuff like that. So it's a whole study on that, but that doesn't mean shit if you are only going to sleep 4 hours a night.
Yeah.
So I suggest the CPAP machine, and you'd be surprised how many males probably need it.
Yeah. No, but sleep is so important, and that's why, like, I love the Gary V's of the world. I love all that stuff. It's great to a certain extent, but this whole like you are an entrepreneur, so you don't need to sleep. It's a dangerous rhetoric.
Gary's very 7 hours. He tells
he is? Okay.
No, he's bully. He's like, I sleep 7 hours. His follow up is always like, he actually is in agreement with you. He hates that concept. He says, I make the 15 hours I'm awake, I kill it. Whereas other people say they sleep 3 hours, but 10 of those hours are on Facebook, their Netflix, their PlayStation.
Or they're sluggish, their mind isn't sharp.
Well, that's good. I'm glad to hear that. Because I think a lot of people are like, well, I'm an entrepreneur, so I don't sleep. I'm like, well, okay, how good is yours? How productive are you during the day, right? Because it's the same thing. If you're not sleeping, you have big decisions to make. You have full days. You have this and that and all that sort of stuff, and you're not taking care of your body. That's the burnout.
It's the home life too. It's the whole work-life balance thing. It's not bullshit. It's things need to be right with your sleep. They need to be right at home. You need to get some exercise. It all helps to get your mind right to be able to do your job. So
that's for sure.
This transitions to one of the things that I thought of, which was smelling the roses concept.
Mm-hmm. All right.
And goals and making goals. So I am not a rose smeller. I am not a goal maker.
Interesting.
Right.
Go ahead.
Okay.
And I'm not setting you up to be like a smart ass. I just want, that's my thing, so I want to hear it from.
You don't set any goals?
No.
Now, when you say that, do you mean like you don't write down any goals, or you just don't set any?
You ask me what I want, where I want to be in 5 months, what I want to do. I mean, of course there are goals, but I don't do anything towards it. So, like on my soccer team, the goal is to win the championship, right? I'm doing whatever it needs to be. Ideally, if you ask me what I'd love to do, I'd love to be able to live 6 months of the year in Italy and 6 months here, and my wife not have to work, and that's pie in the sky type stuff, right? That's like stuff that you just want to do. But in terms of goals, like, no. I mean, you might have to, Mike, because you have certain criteria to reach right now with the company,
right?
You have that, but that's not really a goal. That's like deadline.
Yeah, that's
deadline,
like,
right?
Yeah. Well, I think it's interesting though, because that to say, hey, I want to live 6 months a year in Italy and my wife not have to work, that is a goal, right? But maybe
that's
it's not like
I
this,
get
like,
it's
right?
a goal.
Yeah.
It's more of like that's what I'd love to have, right?
But you don't have like realistic, goals and expectations that you yourself want to meet over a course of 6 months or a year.
Right, like a time base. Yeah, here it is.
No, I feel like for me, and I think that's just the way I work. To me, it's very distracting, and I think I might miss a lot of opportunities based on the fact that I'm thinking that I have to have X amount of this or X amount of that, because I'm free flowing and I work in design and development. I think that, and because I'm social, because I do the podcast, I think I would miss opportunities, like possibly doing this podcast, which may lead to something for us or me or you. So I think I miss that stuff. I think if you're an employee, I get it that you need goals and stuff like that. Or if you have employees, you might need goals for them to reach, like at a car dealership, X amount of cars per month. But as far as like looking and saying, I need to make this, it doesn't work for me that way, because one month I can make X amount, the next month I can make X amount, and then what did I do? Did I cry because I failed last month, but I doubled up on the following month? Maybe that wouldn't have happened, and maybe, you know what I'm saying? Like I think I would miss too many opportunities possibly.
Yeah. If you had blinders up, you probably wouldn't be as aware.
There's a gift and a curse to it. I can see both sides of it. It's just from my personal choices that I don't think I would have been able to withstand 12 years of running a business if I was goal driven, because maybe after the 4th year I would have been like, fuck, it's been 3 months and I haven't hit my goal.
I mean, I think it comes from your mentality too, as a designer. You know, I've known many designers, you know, through the years. It's that part of your brain. Just, you know, you need to feel loose. You need to feel like you can be, you know, creative. I think myself as a writer on that, you know, on that side of the creative, you know.
Well, you're more structured
process. I was more structured. Need to be more goal oriented, and I think that's why it was also a little easier transition into, you know, playing the account role and also, you know, the business owner role and the, you know, and the finances, because I had to plan and keep a schedule. You know, as a writer, I was also part of, you know, social and digital strategy, and so there's things that came into play that made it easier for me to, you know, be very goal driven and, you know.
Well, also you have 2 employees, correct?
Yeah, so that was another thing. I made it, you know, goal where I kind of want to double every year. Like that's probably my goal. You know, double in staff, double, you know, in size, in revenue. You know, that's been my goal the past couple of years, is to start off, and then if I can double my growth every year for 5 years, I'm in good shape. So 2 years in, I am still on that path. You know, if it happens quicker, it happens quicker. But
I think it's self-awareness of knowing what works for you, what works best. Like for you, I take it as you probably are goal-oriented, at least on some level, because you have employees, you have VC stuff and things of that nature.
Yeah, I think it also is the background, right? So when I came out of hockey, but I went right into sales.
And what? You came out of what?
Playing hockey.
Hockey.
And right into sales, right? So you want to talk about goal-oriented sales. What's my quota this month, this quarter, this year, boom, next month, quarter, year. So that to me, but it relates actually to smelling the roses, because there was no smelling the roses, because it's never, hey, this is great, I did this, I'm in the moment. No. What's your next goal? What's your next goal? And it was, hey, you had a great year last year, you were 140% to quota. It's now January 1st, you're 0% to quota. You know, what are you going to do for me? So that was always the case.
Higher expectation now.
Yeah, exactly.
The bar for you.
Well, it's good and bad, because it could drive you to get to that point.
Right. It's great from that, but from a sitting down and really being in the moment, there's 0 of that. And that, talking about smelling the roses and being here, that's one of the biggest challenges I always have is, okay, even if we get to this point, what's next? Like for your business, right? So you double this year, who cares? That year's done. What's next? And if you keep doing that forever, you never kind of reach a point where you're saying, okay, well, I can sit back and at least say I accomplished something. It's never good enough, right?
Yeah, I have to force myself to do that sometimes. You know,
to celebrate the wins, right?
Yeah, because I'm always thinking about what's the next one. You know, what's the next, chance, opportunity to meet somebody, the next, client, you know, the next big win. I'm always thinking about that. So yeah, you have to stop and say, you know, even though you're not where you want to be in your own head, you're in a pretty good spot, you know, and you need to just savor the moment and, you know, and be able to sit back and have a drink with your friends and look and say, hey, all right, you know, I'm feeling good about where I'm at right now.
Well, because I think the challenge, and Lorenzo, I'd love to hear from you too, because you've been doing this, you know, you've built all these different businesses, you've been doing this now for years, is do you ever get to that point? Because if you keep pushing and saying, oh, if I get to here, but then you get there, and then if I get to here, it's almost like someone saying, oh, you know, if I can get to $100,000 in the bank, I'm set. And then they get to that, and oh, if I can get to this, and it'll never end. It will just never end. So I don't know how you turn that off to actually try and enjoy the moment and kind of sit back and.
I don't try to do anything I don't want to do. So for instance, like walking in the taking a walk or hike or anything, like, I appreciate Mother Nature, but I don't give a shit about it. And when I mean,
explain that.
well, like I'm like real bullish on like climate control, right? And that's a major issue. But like I don't need to, like Mariano from Rockstar, he takes a walk every night for 45 minutes. I bust his chops left and right. For him, that works. For me, I'm like, it's not because I say to myself I have to be working. I don't care about it. I don't like. I like going to the beach, right? But I don't care about it. I care about working. I care about my family, the 8-10 people, right, in my world. I care about you guys on after that. So, like, it's just, to me, it just seems too romantic to say, I sleep 3 hours, I take a walk, I do yoga. If they enjoy it, if you enjoy it, have at it. But if you're doing it just because you think that's what you need to do, like, I just don't. I don't pretend to say I would love to take a hike once a week, blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't give a shit about it. I'll do it if it happened to be like, if you're like, hey, let's go do a podcast in the woods right now, I'd be like, creepy, but okay. Or like if I randomly were talking, we end up in the woods, creepy again, but okay. But I'm not opposed to it, I just don't care about it. And I don't need to romanticize and say, oh, it's great, everybody should do this or should walk. No, do whatever the hell you want. So I care about Mother Nature, 100%. And I'll die to save it, but I don't need to experience it every day, because it's just not my thing.
I mean, it's self-awareness, right? Knowing what works for you.
Being comfortable in saying what you is comfortable with. And you could tell me the exact opposite, that you built a tree house in the woods and that's where you go work. I'd be like, bro,
more power
on you.
Yeah, that's great.
Totally go do it. Yes, 100%. So, do you take hikes? Or do you feel like you should?
Yeah, I think that's the bigger thing, right? You feel like you should. I should meditate every day, and I don't.
Why?
No, this is the perception, right?
Yoga.
And I should do this because, I don't know, some of these entrepreneurs are doing it, so I should do that. And I should definitely read 3 books a week because so-and-so does it, and Warren Buffett, he reads 2 hours a day, so I should do that. And that's what happens.
If I had Warren Buffett's movie, money, I'd read a book too. Like,
if I had 3 hours on my private jet between things to sit down and read a book, that's great. But no, I'm in traffic, driving my own ass.
That's what I think that people get stuck with is, I should be doing this, and really it's not. It's you should do, first of all, what you want to do, but also I do believe in the power of progress, right? So people say, what creates happiness? Oh, this or that, or money. It's to me, it's progress. So if I'm progressing, business-wise, family-wise, I feel like I'm actually making progress, and I'm happy with accomplishing something, whether it's this podcast or business or whatever. You feel good about that's happiness.
The question is, do you feel like you're making progress based on what you feel is progress, right, and what you feel, not you personally, but like
external?
And that's what social media comes into play. Like, I don't need to see that your dinner of a grilled chicken with string beans because you think that's great, because the other 6 nights I think you ate Taco Bell. Right? I mean, if you're a nutritionist, it's funny, like fitness people, they're so militant. You need to work out, you need to do this, you need to do this, and then you tell them what they need to do for a business plan, and suddenly they don't know what being structured is. It's fascinating. So it's what's relative to them, right? Mm-hmm. I think every company should have an SEO plan and should do this type of stuff. Some don't, some do. Right. Some see the value in it, some try to go. So I spoke to someone literally 20 minutes ago. Nice guy. He said he had an idea, and then he said NDA and stuff like that. I'm like, right off the bat, I'm like, look, I don't do NDAs, period. It's an idea, whatever, handshake, my word is bond, like that. So to him, he's like, before he has anything going on, he's talking to me about printing shirts. And I'm thinking to myself, dude, printing shirts? Right? Like, you don't have a platform, you don't have anything, you don't have anything going on. Like, so to me, I realized that this is not a client for me. So I told him my price right off the bat, and I gave him my high-end price because I know that I don't want to waste his time, I don't want to waste my time. I'm just self-aware to the fact that, like, I could do that for a third of the price, like I used to do, and then drive myself nuts, and then, this and that.
Just spend all your time and energy
just being aware of your own business. Yeah, being self-aware of your own business as well. Just knowing that this, he asked me, why is that the price? And I said, because that's my price. That's the only reason you need to know.
Period. Yeah.
Right? Which why anything costs anything. It's because it's my price. So when it comes to that, I think self-aware, like With that said, I'll go for a walk in the woods. I no problem.
You're gonna see him out like, oh
Wow, that's my fault.
We should do a little bit of like a kangaroo court where things happen like that. You get a little fine. Maybe it's a $5 fine.
Put it in a jar.
Yeah, put it in the jar. Yeah.
I
I
mean,
wonder if that happened to Mike, if he would have brought that up as the idea.
I see you judge.
my phone's over there and it's on airplane mode, so I'm good. So
Okay.
that's good, yeah.
Okay, well, I'm afraid to touch my laptop and put do not disturb on there because last time I did that on Rockstar Podcast, GarageBand shit the bed, so I'm not touching anything. I did put my phone on mute. Thank you very much. So, Kevin, do you like Mother Nature?
So I like Mother Nature. I live by the beach. I like going to the beach. I hate the beach during the day. Oh, wait. Strangely enough, I hate the beach during the day. I'm very fair-skinned.
Is that Morse code?
I think someone's trying to get out of the wall.
Yeah.
They're stuck in the wall.
Okay.
And trying to get out. I like the beach at night because I can walk over there. I don't like the crowds at the beach during the summer. I don't like the sun. I used to like bodyboarding, going in the water. I think that's probably why I'm still gravitated.
I.e. your AOL screen name?
Yeah, snow surfing.
From
Yeah,
snow
exactly.
surfing.
I like being able to go down there and not long walks on the beach. I just go down there, take my shoes off, and sit. So maybe that's like my kind of.
And
usually nowadays it's like with a cigar and a glass or something. But
he's like an old 70
I'm like an old
man.
man.
He's an old soul.
That's how I like to relax. I'm an old man. I like to have a little drink of something and a cigar and listen to the waves.
Mike, you like Scotch on the Rocks or
That's
in front of the fireplace
That's
out
much.
back? Or
Yeah, you know,
or-
we actually, my wife and I did. We bought one of those fireplaces outside the gas fire pits.
Yeah.
that hook up, so it's super easy. Just on. We use it quite a bit.
just on.
No, but you know what I mean. Versus like I gotta get wood. We used to
Yeah.
have one of those fire pits where you had to get wood, and of course.
If you go for a walk though in the
in
woods,
the wood, then you can get the wood.
Yeah,
That makes so much more sense.
okay.
But we love that, and it is important, I think, to have a little bit of that time because I don't know about you guys, but my brain, like the amount of time I'm not thinking about business during the day, maybe there's zero. Maybe like the other night, my wife said she cleaned up a bunch of the house, and we were talking like Marie Kondo. I don't know if you know on Netflix, she's got like this whole thing. You clean out your house, and it's supposed to be.
Is it the Asian woman?
Yeah, it's like this whole crazy
right,
thing.
Yes.
So my wife said, "Yeah, I feel so much better. We got so much stuff out of the house. I feel great." And right away I responded. I said, "I know it's exactly like our engineers were working on this thing today, and we cleaned out all this old code." And she looked at me, and I'm like, "Oh, oops." Yeah. But that's my brain is always on business, right? So I think it's important to have the times you try and turn it off. But it's
I have
tough.
to make sure that I'm not boring.
I don't think. Okay.
Now is that Lorenzo
I
has
don't
something to
think-
say here?
I don't think it's important to turn it off. I don't think so. I think the work-life balance to me is another thing. It's horseshit. Like people are like you got to take time away from work. No, you do because respectfully, you have a job that you are working to make it. Well, no, but like I think there are plenty of people who love just going to work, getting a job and stuff like that, and when they shut down.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell them, just imagine if I told you need to have a child life balance. If I told you when you're with your child, great, but when you're not with your child, don't think of your child anymore. And people who don't own a business don't realize that that's how it is for us. I joke, but yeah, I mean it's a child.
It's always in the back of your mind. Yeah.
Yes, it's always like my daughter is in kindergarten, right? It's like I get chills and cry about the fact of her little hands eating her lunch by herself in the cafeteria, like that little it eats me alive. Like I want to know, but it never leaves me. Like my wife, did she order Chipotle today? And did she decide if she has to call the guy from Grubhub to just order one burrito to have it delivered? Like I think about those things. But that's because, but nobody would ever tell me to shut that off. My business is my life. So yes, it's all the time. And I think this logic of work-life balance is for people who need to have work-life balance. To me, it's just a life balance. That's it. I'm going to Disney for a week. All I keep thinking about, outside of the fact of going to Disney, is, okay, I gotta have my laptop, but I know that during that time period, here's what I have the ability to do. I have the ability to shut down and be with my family and not, my cell phone, you'd be surprised how much I don't look at my cell phone when I'm not working. I don't. So it comes with age, experience, and time, but you guys who are younger than me, you're hearing this, so it's better for you guys to hear this stuff that for me, it doesn't matter. Just balance is your balance. That's it.
Yeah, I think that's true. Richard Branson actually talks a lot about that, with Virgin, and he's talking about work-life integration. Like, there's no work-life balance because it's always just there. Just find a way to.
It's never going to be equal.
Just build it all in.
Thinking about your business all the time.
Exactly,
anyway, so.
exactly. And I actually like that work-life integration because your work is there, your life it's all part of it. There's no like work and then life. No, work is life, and life,
It's
includes
not work.
It just is.
I mean, it is, but it isn't, right?
Yeah.
So I told you that was going to happen. It is, but it isn't, right? Like, I mean, this is work for some people.
Right.
This is not work to me.
No.
I mean, it is, but it's not. Like, so I just would prefer that people who like a work-life balance and like goals do it.
Yeah.
And don't tell me that I have to do it
Get your 9 to 5. And
to
go
be
and-
healthy or this or that, right? Because I play soccer twice a week, I play softball. Like, I do shit.
Right.
That's how I like Mother Nature.
Yeah.
When it doesn't rain.
Yeah,
Kevin, do you play softball?
I do not play softball.
Can you play softball? Because
Yeah,
you're on
yeah.
the toilet team.
Yeah,
Will you join us? I talked to you about this. Mike?
I'm not a big softball guy, no.
No. What if I give you a hockey stick this weekend?
Yeah, I could turn that around a little bit.
Soccer?
Yeah, I used to play soccer when I was younger, but it was so funny, right? So hockey's a tough sport because you have to skate. Like you can play soccer because you can run.
It's the most difficult game. You have to do everything that all the special people do on skates.
Right. So,
continue.
But it was so funny when you got our team out. So we in university we had our basketball court and our hockey rink, and so sometimes we do some workouts on the basketball court. The lack of skill in basketball from the hockey team was for a group of talented athletes was so unbelievably bad.
It doesn't translate.
Same thing with soccer. It was so bad.
Soccer is surprising because there's so many European type crossovers.
It's very similar in the structure, right?
I don't know what it was, but I think it was maybe because hockey's such a different sport. You have a stick, you're skating, you're on ice. It's just totally different, and it's 24/7, 12 months of the year. So guys weren't doing other things. And when we got it out, the only thing that translated was golf. Really good golfers, the hockey players, but the basketball side, it was tough. Tough to watch.
I've been in many different locker rooms of sports, and Mike knows the hockey locker room. The odors are far different than everywhere else because of that leather and all the pads and all that stuff. Like, I don't care, even football players, football players are like, what the hell is that? And it's not the guys, it's the equipment. And lugging the equipment in and stuff like that. And the hockey moms and the 5 a.m. and we have one game, where is it? Boise, Idaho. Wait a second, what? Yeah, no, we gotta be back by 3. The life of hockey parents is like no
That's crazy. Well, my old man had a rule for me. He said we had 6 a.m. practices once a week. He said if I ever have to wake you up for a practice, you are
good
playing
rule.
hockey.
Wow.
So I would get up at whatever 4:30.
Scared
and
Travis.
I would wake him. I'd make breakfast. I'd wake him up and we'd eat and go. But it was a pretty good thing early on. But with my sons, I'll say the same thing. You want to play hockey, you have a practice, and I'm gonna now have to get you out of bed and drag you out to the practice.
Do you miss
This
it?
is your passion, not mine.
Do you know what I missed though?
Do you miss that if you can be candid enough, that you missed the opportunity? Is that like a regret? Is that
No.
You're okay with that?
No,
Because
yeah.
you want to go into that a little bit?
Because well, here's the thing. I think I had the opportunity after college to play 1 year pro. I had the opportunity to play pro. Unfortunately, I got hurt, but that was the lockout year. It was 2012. I went to camp in Peoria, which is St. Louis's farm team, which was the highest level because there was no NHL,
Yep.
right? So a lot of the NHL guys were down, and it was so amazing to see that level. Like you go from Division 1, then you go to pro and see the NHL guys. These are guys that were 3 or 4 years younger than me that were just so good. So I went down to AA, played there for a little bit, but I'll never look back and say, oh, if I would have played pro, I
You think you
would have
could've
made
made
it. No, I don't.
You think it would have been a career?
Yeah.
That is some self-awareness.
And that's exactly
Would you
why
play defense or?
I was defense, yeah. So that's why I look back and I'm saying, I saw that. And there's a lot of guys in AA that played 4 or 5 games in the NHL, and now they're 35 years old and they're still scraping it on the minors, and they're never going to go back up. But that's just the
But to get
mentality.
one game, just one game in the
It wouldn't do
NHL.
it for me.
It wouldn't do.
No, my roommate in Peoria.
I don't know about that because I know we talked about that stuff, but man, to hear Canada sitting, if you were on Montreal or the greatest franchise ever, the New York Rangers. I don't know. Maybe you've set that in a program. I don't want to cry about it.
No, but it's funny because my roommate in Peoria had played about 150 games, but he was up and down from the minors.
NHL
NHL games. Yeah.
What's his name?
TJ Hensick.
He's not drafted in any draft.
I don't even know where he's at now, but so he's I think he's probably around 150 games. But we're sitting there and he's still up and down for the minors, right? So he was a guy that's a lot of games in the NHL, right? Yeah. But then a lot of guys I played with, it's like 3, 4, 5 games. They're back in the minors. There's no glory because they played 4 games in the NHL. It wasn't any of that. It was like no one cares. I'm still doing this. I'm now making no money and I have a family and I have nothing to fall back on. So I remember being on a 20-hour bus trip from Arizona to Texas and saying like, what the hell am I doing? What am I doing here? The bus broke down. This is a funny story. The bus breaks down on the highway. It's maybe 4 a.m. We're all now standing on the side of the highway because we're all BSing.
That's a hockey story.
And I'm like, someone's asking me to spruce up my resume. Like, this is a sign from God. I'm like, get that resume dusted
up. Get something other than hockey on this.
Let me go on monster.com here and figure out what's going on.
And I remember another time we lost a big game in Arizona and our coach came in and he was just livid, right? And he's like, what the hell are you guys going to do? Are you going to go work at Walmart? You have no other choices. You got to step up again. At that point, I had my undergrad, my master's, and I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not going to sit here and say my only other choice is work at Walmart or play hockey. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so I kind of made the choice. I got hurt. I got a concussion. I was out for a while, and I started at that point to start. But yeah, to answer your question, I'll never look back and say, if I would have, grinded it out in the minors for another 5 years, I would have made it. I never.
Did you get hurt in a fight or on a play?
On a play, actually. It's funny, I got a penalty on the play somehow, but I got hit from behind. So I went into the penalty box and I'm trying to read the boards across, like the logos on the boards, and I can't. Like, everything is triple, I'm like, whatever. And I go out after my penalty, I play a shift, end of the period, and I go to my trainer, I'm like, I can't really see what's going on. He looks at my eyes and he's like, okay, I think you have a concussion. So he's like, let's try tomorrow. The next day, still triple vision. A month later, I still had, this vision issue. And I went to the neurologist and my eyes were just vibrating. Like they vibrated like that for months. So I couldn't really see it at that point. It was, you watch enough sports, you see these issues with the football players and with the VT and all that sort of stuff. And I just said, I have some level of education and I'm not going to make it to the NHL, in my opinion. And maybe you grind it out, but it's not going to be a career thing. Let's hang them up, which was brutal.
The concussion problem is that they can never fix it because it's not the impact; it's the brain rattling inside.
Yeah. Did you ever get a concussion?
I've had many, but not to that extreme by any stretch. But with soccer and stuff like that, back when I played, now that I think there's a lot of soccer leagues when they're young, you don't have to head the ball at all.
Really?
Yeah. But that ball comes flying at you, and a header, and you do it, sometimes in a season 50, 60 times. It's collective. So I think I do recall a couple of times where like I was foggy. So, but not like you had it. So you get it like a major impact where I got it like maybe a little bit trickle.
I had one last year. That's scary as hell.
Really?
I just did it banging my head getting into a car, but I didn't realize it, and then slowly the effects started settling out. I didn't have any kind of vision problems, but it got to a point later that night where my speech was all messed up. And I couldn't really comprehend anything, and by the time I got to the hospital, I couldn't tell her my name. I couldn't tell her what year it was. And,
this wasn't because of the brandy.
Right? Yeah, I wish. I wish because of the whiskey. No, I the stupid automatic car things where it adjusts the seat. I used the wrong key getting into my girlfriend's car, and I used hers, and it was way up. And I went and sat down, and I went to get in the car, and I whipped my head and hit right in the door frame.
Yeah, you go full throttle because you're not hesitating.
Hit me right in the temple, the steel door frame, and just
and you don't want to mess around with that stuff now, right? And it's going to be interesting to see what happens with sports. Speaking of that, because I never played football, right? But I don't think I want my kids playing football because of that. I'll let them play hockey. That's the hard thing, right? It's a little bit of a hypocrite because I did that, but I don't know, it's scary. But soccer is a bad sport for concussions. People don't think about that. A lot of injuries and concussions in soccer.
Right, and the problem is that the helmets do nothing. It's the rattling of the brain. Right. So you could get, you got what's considered a concussion from, not a tap, but considering when you compare it to an offensive lineman in football, right? So you just wonder if, I think the only way they're going to resolve it is every player is going to have to sign a waiver that basically removes all liability from the sport they're in. Yeah. And as crazy as it sounds, there could be a time where football has no helmets, and it's not, because it's going to get to the point where now someone's going to die in the field, right? Because I don't know, you guys wouldn't remember, but the opening day for the Cincinnati Reds, I'd say about 13 years ago, the umpire had a heart attack on the first pitch. And I don't know if he died there, but there was the video of it. And, you know, in football, really that has not happened, right? It's happened in basketball. I think it happened on the court, I'm not sure, but I don't know how they're going to structure it, but it's crazy as it sounds, it's always this logic of, when I grew up, hitchhiking was cool, you know, when you say anything. Then you got into the 90s and people do not get into a car for anything, and now girls who are 16 years old are getting Uber.
Yeah.
How does that make any difference, right?
Right here, have the candy in the back seat.
Yes.
You know, it's
There's
like,
literally a creepy guy up front with candy and disco lights, and 15 years ago it would have been jail, and now it's like, I'll pay you to let me do that.
Yeah.
And
So
a
like,
camera, and a
it's
camera.
what's accepted. Yeah. So it's what's accepted. So I don't know sports, you know, but have you played golf?
Yep.
You do. I've never played a day in my life.
Really?
I think I would be so addicted to it.
It's good. I think
Well,
golf.
most people say that, right?
Yeah, I'm horrible too, but
Once
it's
in
so
a while.
addictive because it's you know, it's always trying to get better. There's no like end result where you're like, oh, okay, I'm reached it.
You picked up
All
on
the
the
goals.
goal, you picked up on my goal transition here. Good. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's also, I mean, I like it for the events as far as like client events and
I was
stuff
going to
like
ask
that.
it seems like the go-to business kind of thing, right? Everybody in business supposedly golfs. And
I think it should be roller derby.
yes.
That'd be fantastic. They do it right here.
Bring it out to your clients.
Something nice, roller derby.
Do you know what's a good thing for clients is Top Golf? That's a little
Yeah,
I'm
they
going
master
for
that.
the first time, April 6th.
I think vast majority of golfers that go to Top Golf, I think 80% are non-golfers.
You know, it's funny, in about 15 years you think it's crazy, but you know what's going to be a meeting is going to be FIFA and Madden, because everybody who
esports.
it's going to be, right? If we have the money, I jump into that esport thing, because that's going to be so much branding. It's going to, there's so much to it between Twitch and just all that stuff.
Well, now what is it? Was it Google? At the gaming convention a day or two ago, was it Google? I'm trying to think who just talked about how they're going to have the streaming gaming services on any platform. You can any TV.
Right.
Really?
Everything. I'm trying to think who.
Yeah,
Well, it's
that's
been a cross
huge.
between VR, AI, and all the other stuff right into gaming.
It's
Where,
going to be able to access from a conference room TV. You know?
but the great part is, what I'm excited for is the sitting in the front row of sporting events from your TV with the
Oh,
camera.
we just talked about that.
I saw the
That's
NBA one.
unbelievable.
I cannot, because I could buy season tickets and they can discount it so much
You get the
that
volume.
they are going to destroy any kind of TV program. Could you imagine, like, if you're, like, for me as a Ranger fan, to have front row behind glass and season tickets for the whole year? I have to buy the component, and I spend maybe, I don't know, $900 for the season tickets.
Well, not only that,
Next
not only
VR.
one seat. That's the difference
And it's
too.
endless money.
Not
they
only
don't
one
make.
seat behind Lundqvist,
can toggle.
but then you have now a center seat, and now when the play's in the other end, now you're behind.
Yes.
Yeah, toggling.
It's
That's
basically
unbelievable.
watching.
It's better than having. It's better.
It's NHL '94 in real life, which was the greatest NHL ever. But NHL, Peter Nedved sucked. But anyway, that concept. But the sell is endless for them.
Yeah.
They don't have to worry about an 18,000 seat arena. They have a $180 million seat arena. So companies who are doing that type of stuff, I can't wait. I
That's
can't wait.
unbelievable. We just talked a little bit about that, right? Shows for bands too. They now have it where it's on stage. You are literally seeing what the drummer sees, and then you switch, and now you're front row. It's just like, oh my gosh.
So,
it's unbelievable.
yeah, I mean, so Next VR is probably the big player in that space of sporting. You know, the sporting.
NBA seems to be jumping on that.
Yeah, so
ahead of
they have
everybody.
these. I mean, these cameras are crazy. So they only do 180. They have 360 capability, but the ones that they use in sporting events are typically 180, like $200,000-$300,000, you know, a piece. You know, they set up several ones on.
Right.
And yeah, so it's. I mean, you have the black screen behind you on the logo, but who cares? You're not looking at the drunk guy back of his face. You want to see see the court. So it's it's perfect and very high quality.
This is smelling the roses for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. You kidding me? For me, I watch every Ranger game as it is. That's maybe who my
I did. Remember, I brought that up too as an interesting thing. Is talk about like shutting your mind off when you're in that and you're watching a game, but you're in that VR. I mean, and you don't have your phone. That's gotta be a good spot to be in. Like, you want to talk about focused and having your mind on one track. That's it.
That's a huge sell for what I'm doing. You know, it's when else nowadays do you have a really captive audience? You know, and it's in that headset because there's nothing else. Plus, you put headphones on that person. You know, you get some Bose noise canceling headphones. The headset, it's just black space. So you've got 100% focus on attention, no matter what you want to show them.
And by the time that's
video or anything.
And by the time that's ready, we'll all have older kids. So I won't have to pay attention to them. I'll be fine.
I mean,
My wife-
it's
also right
ready,
now.
it's ready this year.
Are they doing it? Are
You
they
can do
doing
it upstairs right now.
NBA League Pass, right? I saw it on the NBA version of it.
Are they doing NHL yet?
No, but I
That'd
mean,
be interesting with NHL just because the rink's like a little bit bigger, right? There's a bunch of different angles you'd have to worry about versus NBA where you're courtside, that's like right there. You know?
I think NBA and baseball are probably the best ones, right? Because the concept is people who don't really watch hockey tell you that when you go to a hockey game, it's the best experience, but football is really made for TV, and NBA is made for TV the way it is. So I think football and NBA probably have the best chance of having the best look.
I'm going to tell you guys what I think is going to be the next kind of evolution in this, right? So
Heard it here first.
everything, everything first person, right?
Yeah.
So once the tech gets a little better, the cameras get a little better, it's not going to be watching from the sidelines anymore. You are going to be LeBron. You are going to be,
You're
going to be the quarterback in the pocket, as people come in, and you can toggle, just like Madden.
Yeah.
And you can just toggle from player to player. You'll be able to toggle.
Yeah, because all it takes that's actually probably, especially with helmets and stuff.
Helmet cam, 360 helmet cams. I mean, the tech's got to get there. It's got to, go from this. In order to get really high resolution stuff, you need a lot of cameras, getting a lot of angles, and that needs to be stitched together professionally. But as it evolves, and you can do it I have one upstairs, the little fusion camera. It's a square, I put it on a bike helmet. I walk around the building like
you're the crazy guy.
Yeah, I'm a crazy guy with a camera on his head. But
I saw the helmet. I thought you wanted to walk around wearing that.
So it's not outside the realm of within the next couple of years being able to.
Well, I think in reality, we're probably for that logic, probably in 15 years, 10 years away from it being mainstream.
Yeah,
right. Because it's got to get to that point, then it's got to get mainstream, and then the price has got to drop like TVs did to the point of where it's feasible for everybody to do it, not just like the top 3% or the top very wealthy people. So by the time it gets to mainstream, and then you have to get to the fact that the generations, which might even be you guys, where you're like, why gotta do that? I used to sit at
sit and watch a TV. Why do I gotta put a headset on?
Right. So there's that turnover. So if you're like, don't invest in it now, people.
No, I don't know. I think it's
as I build an entire business.
No, you're building. I'm talking about investing.
I think it's sooner. I do.
You'd be surprised because of the human factor. The technology can move, right? But it takes this amount of time. It wasn't long ago that people were like, why would I go on Facebook and they see all my stuff, right? You think it wasn't, but it was actually like 10 years ago. Effing decade.
15 years
so
old
you're
now.
seeing this stuff now where people are just putting it on now and shooting a basketball, right? That looks like it's so dated based on what it will be.
Pixelated.
By the time it gets to the fact, humanity will always slow it down, right? The technology can get there, but you'll be surprised in 10 years, you might be like, why would I want to watch what LeBron is watching? I'd rather sit in the front row here. So,
how old is Oculus?
So Oculus is
it's closing in.
New. I mean, they got bought over by Facebook a couple years back.
There was a good 5 or 6 years where they were just, if you were in that world, you knew what Oculus was until Facebook went and bought it. So I think it's close for 10 years.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it'll just be interesting to see the evolution of it, right? Like, why do we have a VR arcade going in, right? Like I wouldn't have thought of that 5 years ago. I never would have thought that's even possible. No one's going to do a VR arcade. It's there. Right?
Oasis VRX, we'll give them a little plug.
That's right. I can't wait for that.
They're going to be on the podcast next month. So
yeah, I think that's going to be great, right? But now that's there. It's a reality.
Well, it's the Uber thing, right? You could never imagine that.
Because how long did Uber take, really? I mean, Uber came on.
Well, it was niche in San Francisco, right? And I believe it was in San Francisco where it started, right? And people like us who were in that world, you knew it, and to the point of like you're waiting to take it, right? You wanted to be out here, but it probably took 5, 6 years before it became comfortable. Now it's ridiculous. It's like now we're just Uber, and it's like,
well, even Airbnb, right? I'm just going to stay in someone else's house or let someone else stay in my house. I mean, that seemed crazy.
Humanity stops it all the time, and then it gets to a point, and once humanity takes it over, then we ruin it, and then we create something else. It's true. It's true. That was 45 minutes.
Wow,
there we go.
So clearly we don't need to guess, but we will always take on guests. Look, we have a long list of businesses within Bellworks who are coming on as guests. But anybody who's listening, if you are in Bellworks and would like to be on, please let us know. We can work around schedules and stuff. If you're apprehensive, you're not sure what to talk about, you clearly can see that we can talk about anything because we talked about nothing for the past 45 minutes. So we'd be happy to shoot us an email at info@thebellcast.com or slide into my DMs or his DMs or their DMs. Or whatever.
We've got great guests lined up for the next few weeks, but then after that, we're still open to.
We'll take mediocre guests as well, right?
Yes.
Great
Great
one,
one,
mediocre
mediocre
one.
one.
Yes. And global sales, social media, web development, all that stuff, all here within three guys. So we can talk about just that if you're in that industry. And anything else coming up? There's a lot of events. Bellworks coming up, right? March Madness, all that fun stuff.
Yeah, March Madness is going on right now. I think everyone's
You got a team
brackets are screwed. No, I didn't even bother with with brackets or any gambling or anything this year.
Okay.
But no, we had Lauren on last week, right? There's a couple of her events are coming up, so go check those out.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's good. All right. Mike?
That's it.
Bellcast, episode 9. It's in the can. Thanks for listening.